I mean, do you think that God came down from heaven and stopped? Oh, what the happening? Oh, man. Oh, man, I shot Marvin in the face. Why the did you do that?
Good. I work at a video store in Portland called Movie Madness. I rent people movies all day long and then help put them back on the shelves. To me, the most intriguing aspect about violence is the way that American culture completely accepts it. In Trainspotting, there's a scene where these heroin addicts, their baby dies due to neglect. And I understand that babies die due to neglect every day, but it was horrifying, and I felt like people should be upset, but they weren't. Your environment shapes who you are, and if you're around a consistent environment of violence, you will not see violence as abnormal. You classify something as abnormal because it's different from your primary and predominant experience. If your primary and predominant experience is one of violence, you are not going to see something wrong with that.
No, it's just funny. It's just sometimes.
It's fun to watch people die, you know. You like push them off the bridge and they're like, ah, homie.
San Andreas is fun.
That's what plays fun about it.
Well,
shooting people in the face.
You're black, and it's just the stuff he says is funny, and you can shoot people and everything.
They're more provocative, they're more accessible, and so I think that parents don't even realize what their kids are playing, and kids are desensitized.
The people choose to expose themselves to violence for just this reason, to get this high, to be excited. Experience this chemical reaction that takes place. Again, it isn't something akin to putting yourself in a risky situation. The thing about it is very hard to distinguish that when you play a video game, for instance, you're not really at risk. In terms of the game, you're at risk, but you're not really at risk, and you know that. So it's sort of, there's a safeties built into the game. But the fact is that some people don't make the distinctions after a while between the fantasy world and the reality world. They go out and play the game in the real world, and lo and behold, there are these real risks involved. I often talk about George Gerbner, a researcher who studied people who watched a large amount of television and people who watched a moderate or lesser amount of television, and found that the people who watched a high amount of television had a sense that the world was a very dangerous place, much more dangerous than it in fact is.
Would you describe yourself as a person who watches a lot of television news, a moderate amount, or a little bit of television news?
A lot.
I'd say a moderate amount.
A lot.
I watch no television news, unless I'm on it.
And how many murders do you think there were in Portland last year on a guess?
17.
Oh, I would say about maybe 15.
60.
A lot.
Do you feel safe walking on the streets of Portland?
Yes, depending on what time.
Yes. No.
We can know the ills and the problems of the world all instantaneously, and that kind of overwhelms you. And so I think that there is, at least for a certain type of person, you can get caught up in being overwhelmed in the amount of suffering, because that is over-reported. That's the part that causes the emotional response.
Well, my name is Jim Hyde. I'm a reporter for Fox 12 Oregon here in Portland. I guess the day before there was a fellow who was shot by a policeman over in southeast Portland, and apparently he intended to commit suicide, so they reported, I think it was Tuesday, they reported he was shot by the policeman, but also shot himself in the head. The follow-up story yesterday was that, yes, the coroner, the medical examiner said, yes, he died from a fatal self-inflicted shot to the head, even though the policeman shot him in the stomach. So, but those are just factual details. I personally don't tend to dwell on the gory details, if you will. You just say factually what happened.
They have a vested interest in keeping people afraid because that sells more advertising revenue for the station, and I think when you're afraid, you're paying attention. I know that when I'm afraid, I'm paying attention. So I think it's used as an attention ploy. So I think that it, if it bleeds, it leads is common, and it's not a saying because it doesn't work. It's a saying because it does work.
I play
Pokemon.
violent games.
Yeah, violent games.
Violent games.
Killing games.
Like Grand Theft Auto or Halo 2 or something like that.
I love killing.
Why do you kill people?
I don't kill people in real life. I kill people in video games.
There are a lot of ways that video games are changing our society, and they don't all have to do with violence. But we do know that there's much more violence in the school setting, for instance. There is much more bullying taking place. We know there are many more disruptions in schools today, and we know that there's a huge increase in the amount of time spent playing video games, particularly by young males.
Well, I think the interactive nature of a video game affects a person's personality by making them less in tune to other people's feelings and a sense of propriety in interacting with other people. I notice that when kids play video games, they get kind of caught up in the momentum and are kind of taken into this fantasy world.
Whether right and wrong are concepts people believe in, they're things that we operate from.
I need to kill this guy.